Welcome. You're listening to the I'm Wired to Inspire podcast, creatively engineered by Nicole, the inspiration specialist. I'm Wired to Inspire is a powerfully packed podcast filled with inspiration and encouragement to get you through your day. It's designed to inspire you to live your authentic purpose. Now, stay tuned for your host, Nicole, the inspiration specialist, on today's episode of I'm Wired to Inspire.
Hey everyone, and thank you so much for joining me today on my podcast. I'm Nicole, the inspiration specialist, and I'm wired to inspire you to live your authentic purpose. Now, y'all know some of y'all looked at the title of this and was like, what this crazy girl talking about? But y'all, I got to tell y'all what happened with me and my round yesterday, and it blessed my soul. So we were just talking about different things. I was telling her about a fast I just did a week and something ago, and it was really powerful, and I started seeing all kind of things happen, and I was just like, but there was just, one thing in particular that it just felt that I felt like it almost like God, it just went in reverse. Like I don't know. It just felt like it dried up. And she was like, girl, let me tell you. She said, that's the two-piece dog spicy. And I was like, hot out the grease? She was like, yeah, girl, hot out the grease. I was like, well, tell me what you mean by that. So basically she said, okay, so here's the example. She says, so let's say it's a guy, he's overweight, right? He says, okay, you know what, Lord? I'm ready to change my life. I want to start eating healthy. I want to start working out. I want to do all of these things differently, right? She says, so he's super excited. He fully commits. He gets all in. He gets up every day for 3 weeks straight. He's eating right. He's working out. He's doing everything. Well, this one particular day going into the 4th week, he's he's leaving the gym, driving past the Popeyes. The window is down, and boy, that smell of his past, that smell of that chicken, it pulls him in. So he pulls into Popeyes. He get that 2-piece dog spicy hot out the grease, and he eats it. He gets home. He feels guilty. He hates that he did it because he feels like he's going in reverse. She said, Robin, sometimes that's what God does with us. Sometimes God can reveal something to us and he can say, this is for you, or this is what I want you to do. And then we get caught up. We get so focused on, hey, God, I'm going to do it. And then something happens to, boom, distract us. And she says, even with the journey with people's health, you have to learn how to not stop. You have to learn how to stop eating certain things and desiring certain things and wanting certain things. She was like, you know what? For every person you meet, everybody got a 2-piece dog spicy hot out the grease that's dealing with something and you don't know what it is. So I am telling y'all this word today because it blessed me. And she said, you know what? Everybody's fighting a battle. And just like his might be the Popeyes chicken, it could be an old behavior a person have. It could be an ex. It could be old behavior that just looms around. It could be going back to a relationship or a situation that that God doesn't want for you. Something that seems super tempting and it looks like it could be what God wants on the outside, but you're not quite sure. You don't want to pull the trigger. I'm telling you, these are the kind of things that can cause you to miss what God is trying to do for you. So when I thought about that, I said, oh my God, I said, that's it. She says, so even still, y'all, when you pray for something, you still just have to trust that God is still going to do it for you, even if you don't see anything happening at the time. Y'all, I'm going to tell you something. There was a season in my life. I prayed for something from, let me see, 1, 2, 3, wait, okay, wait, 5 months straight. I prayed for something and it literally felt like it blew up in my face. Literally, I had never been so devastated after focused prayer in my life. I was holding on to pray without ceasing and do this. I mean, it devastated me. Do you hear me? Devastated me. But when I tell y'all, when I got to that 5th month and I was like, oh Lord, I'm Gucci, I'm straight. And I guess it was a part of my flesh being mad at God and my ego, but I really just checked out. I just stopped praying for it, the situation and everything. I was like, I'm good. I am so good on this. And when I tell y'all, God just has a way of bringing things around if it's still in his perfect will. Even if I got tired of praying for it, it did not necessarily mean that God wasn't going to do it for me, but he was trying to show me, I heard everything you said. It still has to come to pass, because Robin, at the end of the day, maybe what you praying for still don't know how to let that 2-piece dog spicy hot out the grease go. Maybe he don't know how to let that go. Maybe she don't know how to let that go. But because you was praying and you were hoping and you were wishing and you were doing whatever it is you thought you were doing in or outside of my will, I'm not going to move like that. You cannot bully God. You cannot get angry at him because he's not doing things on your time clock. And I had to understand that. So when she said that to me, y'all, it made sense. I want to say it to you too. I know some of y'all going to look at chicken. You're never going to look at it the same again. But sometimes, y'all, you have to be compassionate, and you have to remember, even in your own situation, we all have that little 2-piece dog spicy hot out the grease that we dealing with. We all got something that tries to make us go. See, that represents our past. That represents our old behavior. Some of us have struggled with being, prideful or cocky or superficial, or, just things that are just a blemish on who God is trying to make us today. Perfectionism and all of these different things. Again, these things are hindering us from really being inside of God's perfect will for our lives. So when you think about that again, maybe that thing you've been praying for, maybe it was going full speed ahead and then boom and stop. Well, guess what? It might have smelled the chicken. It might have had to stop. And I know, y'all, this sounds like such a silly and crazy analogy, but I'm just going to keep it 100. It affected me because the one thing I knew was, first of all, it kept me humble. And second, it kept me from judging other people's journey, because you do not know what people are battling with. There are people who may mean you well. They may genuinely mean you well. But if they can't get themselves under subjection and they can't do the things that God wants them to do first as an individual, they ain't going to be no good to you no way. So at the end of the day, you got to put yourself on the block. You cannot put nobody else on the chopping block. You have to do that for yourself, because that does two things. That first shows God that you're serious about his perfect will for your life. And two, it shows God that you are humble. It shows him that you are open to the things that he has for you and the way in which he has it for you. So I don't know who needs to do this, but the next time you see something about some Popeye's chicken or any type of chicken, I want you to think about this scenario. Sometimes you just have to have compassion, because you literally have no idea what a person is going through. And sometimes you have to consider the fact that just because it started and it stopped, it doesn't mean that it's not going to continue. So God may have paused it. And sometimes a divine pause is that person getting caught up in the smell of their past. It could be you getting caught up in the scent of your past. It could be you being stopped because the enemy knows what's ahead of you. Everything is, we can't give the enemy that much credit because he's not. Sometimes I think we say so much about the enemy is not even that deep. But I do believe when it comes to these types of things, when we do not walk by faith and when we do not trust God in this time, he can really have his way with us. So I say all of that to say this. I do not know who you are or where you are and what you are going through. But if you are the person who keeps getting hindered and stopped by your past, know this thing here. God is always with you. He is with you on every level. He is in and out of situations. He's in and outside of time. He is time. So if you know you have your own little struggle, and look, some of us could have 10 orders of that 2-piece. Multiple things that keep trying to stop us from our destiny. But know this. Whatever it is that keeps holding you back and keeps distracting you from what God has for you, I can guarantee you this. When you finally are fully obedient and you can leave that gym and pass up that Popeyes, you are going to see the very thing that God could not show you when you were focused on that. If you are really ready to see what God has, if you are really ready to pull the trigger and take the leap, it's time that you consider, do I want the thing out my past or do I want the thing in my future? I'm wired to inspire. I hope you are too.
Thanks for listening to I'm Wired to Inspire podcast at I'mWiredToInspire.com. If you enjoyed the show, spread the word and be sure to hit the 5-star rating on iTunes. For more information on this podcast and inspirational products and services, log on to I'mWiredToInspire.com. And remember to live your authentic purpose. Thanks again, and see you next time.